And I want to be clear, my camera ceasing to record while I'm showing you LAPD that is stalking in the path. This is still relevant positioning, and that's exercising real-time control over my communication device as I utter the name Dominic Choi, who shall be summarily removed from his position as the chief of police. As I'm documenting what is public corruption, this is federal group stalking and monitoring public corruption that's underway by the state of California, which is what the Los Angeles Police Department represents in the federal prosecution for an entity that's engaged in group stalking, and that is practicing demonic activity. This is terrorism underway by the LAPD, and that corrupt law enforcement agency that is prosecuted, that is exposed as engaging in what is state terrorism, that is engaging in this revelation of this level of corruption, that is the domestic enemy, is not only to be removed, they will suffer federal imprisonment. You will permeate their personal lives and neutralize every other threat that they pose to the public and to those in their lives, such as minor children in their custody. But you are removing the chief of police. So you have a police department that's documented engaging in this act of criminal conduct. That is the domestic enemy. The chief of police is removed from their position. Okay, this is relevant to what I'm capturing at 12:44 a.m. on May 16, 2024. I want to be clear, the entity exercising real-time control over my phone as I utter, and this is what happened in my last video as well, as I speak the name of Dominic Choi, as I speak to the fact of, for example, demon possession and the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department, which are the state of California, the Ontario Police Department, the Fontana Police Department, they're going to get the same treatment. It's the state of California engaged in group stalking. Now I'm in Los Angeles, and this is the state of California engaging in a sex offense. This is Dominic Choi engaging in what is the sex offense committed by the state of California. His police department filled with demons who are engaged in criminal monitoring using their helicopters for engaging in criminal activity, which is facilitating the people of the state to engage in that same unfathomable criminal act as well, which is group stalking, monitoring on communication devices as well, in violation of Title 18. And so this video is directly, it's direct continuation of my previous video, because as soon as I said the name Dominic Choi, my video stopped recording. This is no malfunction. That's called monitoring. Okay, they are indeed monitoring in real time. So I'm going to make sure I document that as well. That's additional federal charges. The people that say all 59 units are going to federal prison that live at Alvarado Gardens, and Alvarado Gardens are directly engaged in the criminal conduct that the Los Angeles Police Department are engaged in 24 hours a day, which is noted through what is the engagement and what is helicopter activity in the specific environment where the people of the state are living. 59 units here filled with third parties who are going to federal prison, permeating the lives of the people of the state that live here. You're removing all the minor children, okay? And they are subject to what is a federal prosecution and a criminal record that's going to note the fact that they are indeed engaged in state surveillance, recognized as group stalking in the state of California. Terrorism. America's version of terrorism. The demon-possessed population keeping American citizens under surveillance with corrupt law enforcement agency. That's what Dominic Choi, the Los Angeles Police Department, are engaged in. And that's how I have what is an unreasonable nuisance while the criminal act of stalking in a helicopter at 12:41 in the morning, which is in conformity to long documented stalking behavior in helicopters, very peculiar. This peculiar behavior is relevant to what is criminal conduct. It's the specific environment, it's audible activity creation, it's relevant positioning, and the Los Angeles Police Department are engaging in demonic activity using helicopters. Okay, so I just want to make sure I document that. It is group stalking. And I want you to see the engineered light that's inside of my apartment. And you can see it more clearly in the living room. This is engineered light that appears as this is on the ceiling. This is engineered light that's also in my bedroom, adjacent to my bedroom windows, adjacent to my second bedroom window. In other words, it's just the engineered light that's appearing on the nearest surface. Okay, this has nothing to do with what is light that's gonna appear above your head, your shadow. Let me zoom out so you can see it. Okay, this is my, these are the living room windows. Just so you can see, I'm standing in the living room, and above, looking up at the ceiling, the pattern of those windows are above on the ceiling, which is impossible light activity. Okay, this is engineered light. So I'm gonna go step in it. I'm facing the blinds now. I'm here in the living room, so you can see. This is a light these street lamps outside, which does not create light that appears above your head, that does not create a shadow above you. This is called the engineered light. And during the daytime, you've also seen the pattern of the blinds on the ceiling. All right, the entity, you're talking about the same exact pattern of stalking, maintaining impossible light activity while the entity is engaging in the elements of monitoring. This is engineered light. The purpose of this is for ongoing monitoring, and including federal stalking on the venue of the internet, utilizing communication devices, while the entity that is LAPD, the state of California, a corrupt law enforcement agency that is demon possessed, is engaging in the elements of monitoring, which is identified through, number one, the hallmark. These corrupt law enforcement agencies are using helicopter to engage in the elements of monitoring, which is serving massive criminal facilitation. It's amplification. It creates a great amount of audible activity for a large group of people all together to engage in monitoring together. It's facilitation. It's enabling everyone else. It's also amplification for purposes of targeting and monitoring on communication devices. And the entity is doing so while it is also monitoring the evidence. So I want to make sure that you understand this is not just an unreasonable nuisance. The Los Angeles Police Department is engaged in what is documented, which is it's referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring. And this is not in the workplace right now. This is what the entity is documented while they're flying directly over my head and over my office, as I documented, for example, 25 times on May 14th. The entity engaged in perceptible activity creation in helicopter 25 times, as you were witnessing it. And that was the 14th. The 15th is what I'm documenting on an ongoing basis, because this is routine with regard to the criminal system of group stalking, which includes corrupt law enforcement agencies who are engaged in state surveillance, criminal surveillance, in violation of my constitutional and human rights, which is when the P.O.C. of federal group stalking and monitoring, in conformity to, again, law enforcement agencies who are engaged in what is this matter of public corruption. They're group stalking. Group stalking is demonic activity. It shall be prosecuted